So my computer already shut down on me. So while I was thinking about it, I just went ahead and texted the computer guy. I said, I need you to do something about this PC. It was February 8th that I last told him I'm worried about the product warranty, like all the little pieces that came in the boxes. I'm worried about each one of them running out of their warranty before he comes back here and fixes this damn thing. This has been the random shutdowns have been happening from the beginning, so it doesn't have to do with the quality, air quality in this space or anything. I wanted to get on here so that we could have sort of an update of what's happening in Pulse and Hex and everything. Just recently, Hex on Pulse Chain has outperformed everything. And so now it's 2.3 multiplier of Ethereum Hex right now. I personally have not ended any of my Ethereum stakes, like ending early. Instead, I'm just waiting those out. I'll take that value and probably put it into, I might cash out whenever that stuff comes out, or I'll put it into the P-Hex situation. My plan from the beginning, whenever this Pulse Chain stuff was being planned out, my plan was to take some of my Pulse Chain and purchase P-Hex, or somehow acquire some P-Hex and stake that out and make it to where I could become a bigger creature in the staking system, in the new P-Hex system. And I successfully did that. About week 2, whenever I started messing around with stuff, I finally settled and said, this is the move I'm going to make. So I traded a few million, or I traded like basically billions of Pulse Chain, I think, for some P-Hex. That's how I got it. But I have been using the farms over there on V1 in the Pulse Chain. I'm finding out that a lot of people, that's the logo right there that I've just put as the frame. I found out that a lot of people have not performed at all on Pulse Chain. And so I think that people should do that so that they know what they're talking about. Just experiences. What's up, free speech? Yeah, are you wondering what the price is going to look like on eHex? Is that what you're saying? My estimation is that until eHex gets some praise in the future, it'll probably be at 10% the price of P-Hex. Because P-Hex is going to be our bright and shiny object. It's going to be what we're going to onboard people straight to. But eHex is still going to have that bargain. It's still going to have the bargain of the APY. It's still going to appeal to people who have been Bitcoiners and Ethereum people. These Ethereum people, they're not going to immediately say, oh, Richard Heart made something better than Ethereum, I'm going to jump straight over. Instead, they're going to maintain their bags. They're gonna do things smoothly. But an update for the whole community. Yesterday we had like $40 million, not $40 million, but 40 million P-Hex bought in one sweep. We had 63 million bought in one sweep. We had 10 million bought in one sweep. So that's why the price has gone up a bit, because these people are making these huge buys. They're making large acquisition positions. So things are looking pretty good. Some people say that it's like silent right now. This whole last week, people have been kind of like on edge because they've watched in my opinion, a lot of folks have watched their PulseX dive a little bit. because PulseX is way below sacrifice price. One of the guys, DMF, was talking about how he watches the ink and pulse chain. He basically just watches ratios. He doesn't pay attention to US dollar prices. And so he just watches these ratios of PLS to things. And ink price has been dropping lately, but he's expecting it to go back up. And I also want it to go back up because I've been farming this whole time. That's what I wanted to get on earlier. Over there on V1, we're able to farm. On V2, we're able to earn fees. That's the difference between them. And folks need to get in there and get a little bit dirty and recognize what's available. So a lot of my onboards 2 years ago, they're definitely not in profit. Folks that sacked with my recommendation, all of them were into Pulse, not PulseX, and I'm very happy about that. The way that the prices are right now, that's what I assumed the importance ratio was going to be, but I didn't assume it to be like, well shit, you're down to 30%. Over there in PulseX, you're down to like 30% your sack amount. I did not expect that. I don't really know what I expected, but I did expect Hex to be ignored for a little while. But right now I have to argue, what is the reason of having a PulseX token? Like, why would you buy it? Why would you maintain the price? What makes people buy something for the price to be maintained or to go up? Pulse, it speaks for itself because it is the gas, it is the chain, it is the layer one. Hex is this awesome product that sits on top of it. People are always going to want to have that next level function that Hex allows to do, which is the APY. So I'm pretty sure that Richard's thinking, multiple chess moves ahead, and he's not going to leave us hanging. Instead, it's just going to be that as long as you don't get too risky with your bag, everything's going to be fine because you are here and you are learning. I think a lot of this has to do with like everybody maturing into this. I never have experienced this before. I need to experience it for the first time. I don't even need to take notes. It literally resonates into your brain. It becomes a part of your character. Because like, have we really matured in finance? If you grew up in the States, have you really? So all these, we're having a lot of complainers right now. What's up, Tin Top? And me personally, being an admin in some of these groups, I have people approaching me like complaining about things that are social issues. They're not, somebody stole my funds or anything. And I'm trying my best just to ignore them and allow them to take care of themselves. Free Speech says the only thing he can think of is burn over time with that PLSX. Like, what's the reason to buy it? Yeah, Highway said the same thing. Over time, but why buy it right now? Like, it's almost like a discounted Maxi token or Deci token. Like, if it's really discounted, I guess I could buy it and wait for speculation to bring it back up. But like, I don't want it until the end, whenever it is that I reacquire the hex that it's meant to stand for. Um, Free Speech also says that he probably should have farmed earlier. Yeah, the percentages were high. However, the ink token price went down as people were playing the game and selling it off. Me, myself, being kind of later to the whole thing, I'm just like, well, shit, I'll just hold the ink token, wait for the price to go back up, and hopefully the ink token will become um, even more expensive than it had in the past. If that ink token goes to $40, I'm going to be a very, very happy person. And it has already reached, with speculation, it had already reached $83. I did buy some ink token, pretty expensive. Not all the way up there, not at the 40, but a little bit below the 40. And the reason why I did that was because I wanted to pair some with some Pulse, or pair some with some PLSX over there in the V1 farming, so that I can earn more ink token. If whoever's going to watch this in the future, I got the two guys right now, but whoever's in the future, I urge you, go check out what you're able to do. Pulsex.com, app.pulsex.com. There on the front page, you'll be able to click on that. It'll take you straight to it. You'll be able to see the ratios. And then also PLS Burn is another website that you can go to in order to have a dashboard of what's happening in PLS right now. So Free Speech says he tends to think that it's a dumper token. I want to bring back the old logo of the ink token, where it was a wand, right? A wand with a star at the end, and that star went pow with light. And the reason why I say that is because it's almost like it's Richard's wand token. It's one where he's able to like create things with it. He's able to draw attention and funds to a certain place with the ink token, the incentive token. So he's able to point over here and get people's attention and have the thing grow something, and then he's able to point over here and grow this thing. So if it is that he wants more people with Pepe, right? There's Pepe farming over here. If he wants people to mess with the wrapped Bitcoin that was on Ethereum wrapped Bitcoin, and now it's wrapped Bitcoin on Pulse, and he wants to grow that atmosphere, he puts the incentive token in that area. So that was recently, that's actually what's been happening in the last week, is people are a little bit not wisely dogging Richard for saying like, hey, we've got your shitcoin over here on Pulse chain. Why don't you come claim it and have fun over here? It's worth this amount of money. What would that be to your bag? Like, you've got 100 Pepe. What would that 100 Pepe look like on if you came and claimed it on Pulse? And then cashed out, do whatever you want, right? But whatever the case, it appealed to you to come and be a part of the playground. So some people are calling Richard out on that. Like, come on. Us Hex Maxis, Richard Hart Maxis are just fine with folks who have no intention except for to sell, to come on into the ecosystem and recognize it for the first time. Because the tools are slick. That's what I love to tell people in Twitter Spaces is have you checked out how smooth this is? Like, it's self-explanatory. If somebody's new to our atmosphere and person has done things before, they easily adopt our front ends, our interfaces. What else is going on? Oh, I got a personal retweet from Richard. I never have done that before. I'd always gotten like a like, or somebody else featured my stuff, gave me a shout out, and he retweeted it. But he actually retweeted my thing, which was something about sending mail up to the Northwest, because I was sending mail to a Canadian guy over there in British Columbia. So that was cool. And it was like almost 500 likes and over 100 retweets. So everybody knows this, but I'll say it again. I'm sending out mail and I'm getting new things to send out to people. So I've got a new order of 1,000 stickers just the other day, magnets that are the logo, other magnets that are kind of fun with multiple logos and a message about the APY in the middle. Get with me through my DMs on Twitter. And so my username is this thing here on Twitter. So my onboards, my Hex onboards that bought at 3.5 cents, you know, everything was looking pretty, 50 cents, looking fucking fantastic. I was the man. And then it dropped. And I got them to do PLS, not PLSX, sacrificing, and all those people who sacrificed for the PLS, I basically told them that everything's going smoothly, but don't touch it. Just leave it until I revisit them. So I'll give them advice later. But right now I don't know what advice to give them. Possibly, I will give them the advice of going and providing for the liquidity pools. But that would mean that they need to have some sort of position to match their existing PLS. So they would have to take new US dollars, or they would have to split the PLS, or they would they would have to have some sort of value to match the existing PLSX or the PLS. And so I don't want to tell them, hey, cut your PLS in half and turn it into PLSX and put those pairings next to each other. I mean, that would mean like, imagine having 200 million pulse and cutting that in half value wise, meaning that you would have like maybe 100 and like match it with PLS X. Can't even do that math right now. I guess if I'm cutting it exactly in half, it would be 100 million PLS and 500 million or 400 million PLSX. So what I need to figure out is what sort of message am I going to give the onboards that I have over in the permaculture world, over there on Paul Wheaton's website, permies.com, where I've had a forum or a thread about Hex since Hex's beginning, since I ever started doing videos, maybe even before doing videos, where I was trying to pass out my referral link right before the adoption amplifier there in the early Hex days. Because some of those folks, they come into this thread and they say, Bitcoin is dead. It was like whenever Bitcoin dove. Um, and now they can say, Hex is dead. And I'll point to Bitcoin and I'll say, like, Bitcoin never died. Look. Um, so it's just been a few months that I haven't given an update over there on that website. And I need to be able to come back and, have some exact messages to show some people that this stuff is not dead. It outlasted all of these other structures in crypto that were built wrong. They were set to fail, or they were set for government to come and take them down. But yeah, this the big whale sacrificing 800 million hex the other month, over there to the Bank X. That was some interesting shite. I'm getting excited about Hexaco. Matty Allin, he's going to create a conference down here in Austin. He's going to do it August 4th and 5th of this year, so that's a month from now. And on the 4th is a Friday, the 5th is a Saturday. On the 5th, also down here in my downtown area, there's going to be a beer festival. And so I was thinking that, like, maybe some of us guys could go over there in Austin for the day of Friday, and then retreat back over here and have a good time on Saturday, and tune in to everything online from this spot. I think that would be pretty cool. I wanted to get out to Finland and do some traveling this summer, but I have so many damn irons in the fire that I probably won't get around to it. But I'm still leaving that slight possibility of getting out to Finland to see Finbear. I don't think he'll get hurt. He'll be hurt by me saying that I'm not going to come. Finbear is a air sign, I believe. So I think every day I catch him in a different mood. However, it just slightly changes. There's not much to it changing. What else do we have to talk about? Free speech, you got anything? Tin Top, you got anything? Trying to think back to all the stuff. Like, we've got tons of people who just sit around and watch the price. We've got some people who build things. We have some people who get busy. We've got the tours going on. Wild SJ can use some donations towards her efforts, because she's constantly fixing up this bus that she's living out of and traveling the nation. I know that I have donated to her, by the way. Okay, so things that we could run fundraisers for. We did a postcard contest last month, and we got like 20 something entries. That was freaking awesome. Have we sent out those postcards yet? No, we haven't. Are we going to? I don't know. We may not even send out those exact designs. I might ask somebody to edit it before I send it to a specific location where it is that somebody's requesting they be sent. And maybe we customize it based on that location and the person who's requesting it. I think that would be really cool. What we need in the postcards group, everybody pay attention to this, please. What we need in the postcards group is a way to track. We need to figure out how to not muddy Hex.com's image or marketing scheme or the cut to the throat thing that Hex.com presents. We need to make sure that we don't muddy that, but yet we need to somehow track from our postcards to somebody possibly even buying. So like, how could we do that? And also possibly how could we raise money for the continuation of postcards going out? So maybe it is that we present someone in the Hex community that we admire and respect and know will do good to onboards. Maybe we highlight this person and we ask them to give us special links so that we can track this stuff, but also have it to where they're offering a service and they provide an affiliate link, and we use that affiliate link to get a kickback. So like maybe I register myself as I'm getting the kickback, and then I immediately put it back into the postcard group funds to send stuff out. Okay, now with all of that idea right there, change the idea over to door hangers, where the Hexicans are putting them on each of the doors themselves, but also progress this idea into me sending out door hangers to all of the Hexican addresses that I have, which is 170 or so. So around the world, I could distribute like 30 to 100 door hangers at each person's location. And then it would be upon them to go and select the houses and get them on the doorknobs. And then maybe we could do one rendition, and then we change the design and we do that again. Because I think it's time that Hexicans rise to the occasion and start to be marketers themselves and start to have an opinion on how we should design these marketing features, these materials. Thanks, free speech. And I saw your comment. I just needed to continue to say what I needed to say, get the message across. So we're like inside the Hex Postcards group, we're on the rocks. It's almost like the same percentage of all of Twitter, that chaos exists inside each one of our groups, you know? But hey, I'm perfectly fortified financially, so I'm doing great, and I'm not going to change my direction. Instead, I'm just going to get smarter and do something better. All right, so free speech is saying, like, basically without green candles, it's hard to interest people, right? What I'm wanting to do is like focus on Richard, or focus on Richard and then Hex, or focus on Pulse Chain and then Hex, or Hex, assuming that Pulse Chain is the chain that we're talking about. Those are what I would love for the marketing to go towards. And then another idea that I have, because in the postcards group we ran a contest for designs of postcards, I'm also interested in doing a contest, raising the stakes a little bit, maybe having it to where it's $1,000 grand prize of video outreach. Like, could we have it to where there's somebody inside the Hex community who is really interested in doing video and maybe is good about such a marketing mind to where they'll recognize that Hex needs a jingle, we need a feel, we need a sang of some sort. And then so possibly we could do that in a radio commercial where it's like 45 seconds max. Like imagine how many Hexicans would possibly say like, oh, well, I'll just go and ask my local radio station how much it costs for a little space inside of their radio show. Because I've already got the audio file made by the Hexicans this year. So that's one idea. Another idea is to just have a commercial, and then so it's a video with audio. We spread it around. Another idea that I have is offering up the capability of like doing a documentary. If it is that you want to go that certain route. And then another idea I have is like you could raid social media stuff like Omegle, like what I used to do. On this channel, if you go through some old videos, you might have to go to the live section. You'll see that I did some Omegle things where I would just click, 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 click until I could talk to somebody, and then I would tell them a little bit about how crypto was relevant. So all of these ideas that I'm talking about, what if I ran a competition that said, hey, these are the types of things that you could do. These are the categories that you could fit within, but whatever the case, overall, they're all going to be judged and giving a first, second, third, whatever. And then I'll give out a prize. And then maybe even publicly list, this was an idea I had, publicly list the donation address or the address of what somebody's going to win. So it's like, hey, I put the 1,000 USDC right there. So anybody could visit it, and then anybody could add on to it. So say like somebody who's philanthropic, I'm just going to mention Hex Deck just because I could probably bully him if I had to, which I won't have to, but I could bully him into giving me at least $200 to that first place prize thing, and then people have something to point to and say I'm working for that. And of course, if I pay somebody over $500, I might have to deal with some legal stuff, which would suck. The postcards grand prize was only $400, so we didn't have to think about that a while ago. And by the way, everybody who participated, we gave a little bit of pulse to. Something like 100,000 pulse, maybe even 200,000 pulse was put into everybody's wallet who provided us a wallet address. And then, of course, we gave the first, second, third prize, which wasn't pulse, I don't believe. I think it was USDC. Yeah, Tin Top's talking about the FIRE, the early retirement extreme communities, and debt relief channel. That's interesting. I would hate for people to like look at Hex, put in $1,000 and it go down to 500, and they're like pointing at you like, hey, this is supposed to be my debt relief. So I would hate for them to watch it like a hawk and it go in the opposite direction, and they're just like, well, it's supposed to amount up, and then we're pointing over here to the yield, right? The amount of Hex that accrues in their wallet, and be like, well, you know, when the price goes up exponentially, this is gonna grow. See, like right now, some of the negativities that we have, and I hope this doesn't spoil the mood at all. We have some people who sold houses and put all the money into Hex and then watched it go down to like 20% of what they used to have. Marketing can be tricky. Don't just pull a Bud Light. Oh, that's funny. I hear there's some other moves being made too. Like Bud Light is doing new things with it, as well as they have new PR people too. I don't know. I don't remember the last time I drank a Bud Light or a Coors or a Budweiser. It had to have been on accident in high school. Because when I got into college, some of the microbrews were allowed to reach us. Because keep in mind, they had it all controlled. The distributors had everything controlled. All the lobbyists were paid for. There was only so much that we could acquire from a store. You know, if you didn't live in the same town, you couldn't go visit the brewery or the microbrew. So I was up there in Lubbock at Texas Tech University, and across campus was this location of a franchise called Crickets. And I told the bartender one Wednesday evening, while Brown Paper Rapper was the band that always entertained us on a Wednesday evening, hump day. I asked him, like, hey, what do you recommend? He said Turbo Dog, which was kind of a porter from Abita Springs, Louisiana. It's good. And from then on, a beer snob was created. I don't drink bad beer. So yeah, hopefully people can just come in and grab their airdrop. Oh, another thing that's been happening is, like wondering whether people are going to come into Pulse Chain and launch their project like they said they would. And maybe they had a sacrifice, so we're sitting there waiting for it. But not me, because me being Richard Hart Maxey, I didn't just go sacrifice for anything, and I didn't pool my funds whenever I did sacrifice for Richard Hart things. So I didn't have to worry about that. There's some friends of mine who got great multipliers because they sacked in pools, but it was very scary for them because they went weeks in the beginning. They went weeks without their sacrifices. It took a while for everything to get figured out, whose funds were whose. So there was no early bridging for them. There was no ratio trading, recognizing the difference in ratios. Man, at one point, P hex, you could buy 3 P hex for an E hex. That was something that stabilized there for like 2 days, I think. Yeah, free speech. You should go do that. He says Route 66, end in Texas, and then fly to Hawaii. And while he's on Route 66, check out all the gun shooting that he could do on the way. That's awesome. And then maybe you can have hex marketing materials the whole time you're out. Also have a little tag on your car and just live your passion and spread the word. And hopefully people will tune in for your passion, which that is your expertise in the certain subject. Yeah, you agree with me on the Richard Hart or basically not trusting these other sacrifices. So one thing that has come out is Fatty, I believe that's what it is. Fatty. It's not called Famous, right? And then I believe Phux, also PHAUX or PHUX. I believe all of those things are the same products or the same area. So people are telling me that it's a great dashboard so that you can see, like, if you enter in your address, then you should be able to see a lot of your steaks, your HSIs, maybe ICOSAs. So that's really cool. I haven't done it yet. And then also, I'm told that if you've got like a huge amount of dye and you want to move it to another stable or vice versa, then using Fatty is a really good thing because there's a small percentage of slippage as opposed to going over to PulseX or as opposed to going over to Uniswap on Ethereum. Oh, they're not the same product, just the same founders. Well, that's fucking confusing. That's fatty confusing. Yeah, so if y'all are in the area in Central Texas during August 4th and 5th, then come on over to Houston or come on over to Austin area. I'm just north of Austin. Marcus from Wisconsin has already scheduled his plane and I believe his room. I was talking to him about what hotels he should look into in this area. I told him, hey, go stay at the nice Sheraton across the highway, but he was thinking a little bit lower price. Because they'll probably advertise like $120 rooms, but that's probably for like 5 months out. So about the same price he could get over here at the Comfort Inn or something. But I told him there's one place that has a breakfast joint right next to it, a little brunch spot that closes at 2:30 or something like that in the afternoon. So they have breakfast. And then the other spot is walkable distance that's kind of near like this new Indian place and then one of the coffee shops that I like to go to. So he'll be set up to where he doesn't have to walk or he doesn't have to use an Uber until he wants to leave the town. You know what I mean? All right. So Fatty is the dashboard and Phux is the fork of Balancer. So Phux is the free claim. And Fatty, which Tintop spells as Patty here, is what I recommend people check out, this dashboard. See if you like the dashboard. Oh yeah, and we've been having some issues with go.hex.com, but they're being worked on. And if you do have issues with it, I recommend clearing your cookies. If you continue to have issues with it, go over to icosa. Let's see, what is it? Icosa.app? App.icosa. Go to Icosa website. I think it's icosa.pro. And look for a link over there. And so what I'm recommending is like go use that staking interface if you're having issues with the other ones. So Richard, like I said, I think he thinks, multiple chess pieces ahead of time. And as long as we continue to preserve ourselves, keep ourselves floating, I think we'll do just fine. And maybe there'll be like really, really awesome airdrop opportunities or just in general, just all ships rise opportunities will probably come about. Awesome. So Free Speech says he checked out the beta site that just came out because it's beta.hex, or it's beta.go.hex.com right now. And Richard tweeted out yesterday asking us to go and visit that and to give the feedback. Cool. It's good to hear. And that's another thing that people have like shot on Richard about. And then of course there are the people like myself who then, you know, tweet out like, gosh, it's funny, this guy has given you so much free shit, free money, and you treat him like this. But I can understand some sentiment from the Pulse Xers, and it's interesting that it's the Pulse Xers who were the people who were kind of late to the party, wanting all the goods and to, you know, wreck the party. If it meant them getting the spoils, they'll take it, you know. So I feel, I don't necessarily feel bad for them, but I understand the sentiment. But once again, your tokenomics, what is the point of holding on to a Pulse X right now? And like Free Speech said, it's the burning of the token. There's a buy and burn function. All right, so everybody's able to earn fees right now. Everybody's able to earn a percentage. I was just seeing earlier that in the V1 pools for farming, you could earn 19% if you paired your Pulse with your Pulse X. So over there on V2, I don't know what the fees are. I don't know how much percentage you're actually earning. But you can be earning. Over there on V2, you can be staking. You can be earning right now. So if you've got anything other than Pulse Chain, you can take the Pulse Chain that you have, match it with whatever the other things that you have, bring them over to the V2 pools, and get yourself LP tokens. And those LP tokens will represent the value that you put in to the pools. It'll be your place marker. So it's like staking Hex. It's like earning interest on top of your Hex. So something I wanted to get back to was like some of the guys are talking about events that they could run and stuff, and UFO. Everybody knows who UFO is, whether they like him or not, right? He's the German guy who does a lot of like some of the German people are plagued to do with our language. And he lives over in the Virgin Islands, I believe. British Virgin Isles. Don't we have American Virgin Isles as well? So, I think he's always worked as like a democratic consultant. So he's that type of mind. But his idea is like getting into, in order to shill Hex, get into the folks that like art, so the art industry, or get into the chess people, the chess communities. And I've kind of taken a liking to this idea of chess communities. So his idea is like sponsoring a tournament I'm all for it. How much would that sort of thing cost? How many hexagons can we mobilize to set up this sort of thing? When is it that chess tournaments are already happening? Can we sponsor those? Do we need to make our own? Damn it, UFO. Get on it already and tell us exactly, how everything's set up, please, because I'm not familiar. But the reason why he said the chess communities is because they have a certain mindset. They have a similar mindset of doing things on their own. And so the same thing with the art buyers, the people who find value in certain things and decide to actually back that up with some good dollars. I really like the chess idea, and it's not because like just put pulse everywhere or put hex everywhere. A lot of the guys over in the Texas groups, they talk about like sponsoring golf tournaments. And to me, golf is like a bigger deal. It's a much larger ordeal. Think about how much it costs. Like I haven't thought about this, but how much difference of cost it is to play a game of chess compared to play a game of golf. I guess I'd have to be counting per hole. I'm pretty good at chess. So I'm actually like kind of interested in it, or I have some energy behind it based on that, because I actually know the sport a little bit. Free speech is like I could do shotgun competitions. I really want to get our marketing iron down during these low prices, just so that we'll be absolutely ready for it to explode. It's like if you gave somebody something while the price is 1 cent, and then you're able to say, I told you so at 5 cents, or I told you so at 10 cents. That's perfect, man. That is smooth sailing, because it's like proof of concept. In Hex, there's two different charts. There's the chart of you earning interest in Hex tokens. There's the chart of your portfolio going up in Hex tokens. And then there's the chart of the price, right? And I don't know, I've been wanting to draw a matrix of like, okay, if the person that you're trying to onboard is this single mother right here that works in this certain industry, this is the way I think that you could have success in explaining this to her. And then, if it's a retired single old male who is into precious metals right now, this is how you can appeal to them. I would love to make that matrix. Like, let's figure out all the hexagons who want to lend a hand. Let's figure out what their passions are, and let's start communicating with them and allow them to develop themselves a little bit more and go join a team and offer a little bit of their skills up to everybody. Like on my Twitter profile, I list the Taco Tuesdays and the Permaculture Foodies group. What's up? Which is now called Guild. What's up, HOICU? Yeah, it's completely surprise stream. I was in between coffee and my house, so I just stopped by and decided to sweat a little bit. So it's been going on for 57 minutes, so here soon I'll probably stop. I mean, I'm running out of topics. We've covered a lot, in my opinion. Gosh, now I've gone off the side, gone off the rails, guys. What was I talking about? Oh, so let's get people in this atmosphere where they can join a team and really shine, or offer up and really really work on themselves while it is, you know, like what I was saying earlier, where like we can't have just immediate wealth. Like we might go straight to spoils. And so all of these ups and downs, or these trials, tribulations, these time periods that we have to wait out, these things that we have to recognize that happen inside of the ecosystem of Pulse, where Richard takes the incentive token, right, where the original logo of it was a wand with a star with bright rays coming off that star, because he's able to tap, say, hey, create this over here, and then that exists for 2 weeks, and then go create, let's put the value over here, create this, create that. So HOA, my latest intrigue is, I mean, besides polishing up the marketing materials or ironing those down, is like we could run a contest for videos that would be like Hex commercials, whether they're on radio or TV like, right? We'll probably never get it on TV. But it would do like a similar pump as, or like adrenaline, like appeal to our Hex adrenal gland, right? Get us to want to deliver Hex to people, like what the documentary is supposed to be helping us do. So like RG3 says that in a few days they're going to release an extended long version of the documentary trailer, or a new version of the documentary trailer. Maybe it'll have like some post Pulse going live footage, some real scenarios that have happened since the launch. But my idea was to have it to where like we actually competed a little bit, you know, like created some video. But we have it to where it's a competition, so people can fit within the topics that are available, right? Okay, so that was one idea. The other idea is let's sponsor a tournament of some sort. Let's sponsor a gathering of some hobbies. So UFO has been talking about chess and the art communities. Both of these communities being unique mentalities toward investing on the blockchain. So I like the idea of chess, and I wonder if we have something else that could compete that's just as good or similar. I think that golfing, some of the guys have been talking about that, but I think that's too comprehensive. And it might freaking cost a shit ton to sponsor and be a part of. So let's get some rockets. And then Like we all want immediate wealth, right? But there's going to be this time where we're going to have to make this decision of what RG3 talks about, where it's like below 10%, take 10% and put it away, and then take another portion and put it towards donations of, you know, philanthropic stuff locally, so that you feel good about yourself and what you've become. What I say is take 10%, and I also say go below 10%, and then take 10% and put it off to the side. And then the next time that you see the markets dip quite a bit, put that whole 10%, whatever you saved, put it towards buying up the bottom, and quite possibly you could double your bag just with that situation. But what I'm saying is, I experienced Maddie Allen's sudden wealth syndrome in a way, where you have a shit ton of confidence because your financial accounts say that you should, I guess. I don't have to work every day. You know, I'm retired. All these people have to maintain, they have to get up out of their bed at 7 o'clock in the morning. They have to. Somebody is expecting them today. Whew. So what I'm saying is, there was this time around the NASCAR time period, right? I was in my shower, having a shower moment one morning, and I said to myself, if I don't sell now, I might regret it. And that's exactly what happened. I donated while the market was up. So it was small donations. I mean, it was large donations, right? But it was small amounts to me, right? Because we're talking about 50 cents per hex. So like $7,000 was 14,000 hex. So what? 14,000 hex. Come on. That's nothing. And I still haven't gotten my tracksuit. So everybody go be a fucking dick to Agape Hex, because he enticed me to donate to the NASCAR when I saw him in person in Dallas, I believe, or Houston, right? I told him I was thinking about it because I really like Motley Investor, because I just, for some reason, Motley Investor appeals to me. As an influencer, right? And I'm still sad that he quit the morning show. So I think it was $7,500 that I put towards the NASCAR, and I told Agape that I'm only doing this if you promise to me that I can get a suit out of it. Otherwise, I would give just a little bit less. And he's like, okay, you want the pit crew suit or you want the driver's suit? Because the driver's suit has some extra anti-flammability to it, so it's a more expensive suit, at least twice as much. And I'm like, no, just the regular pit crew, because I'd love to sit here in front of the camera and wear it. I think it would be fun. Or maybe some other guys want to wear it and take it for a ride whenever it is that we have like get-togethers or whatever. You know, some sort of a memorabilia, right? So that was the plan, right? And then so they did their NASCAR thing, and then it was another bit was pushed back, right? So there was a second race, and we're all waiting for the second race, and I'm still waiting to get my suit after the second race, or I'm waiting to get it later on. And Agape reaches out to me and he says, hey, do you still want that suit, or do you want a better suit? Do you want the driver's suit? I'm like, no, dude, I don't want to pay any more. Like, you're fishing for me to pay more. I don't want more. I just want the deal that we agreed on. And then several months went by. Then he shows me, and then I reach out to him again to try to put like fire under his ass. And he shows me this text message where he's reaching out to the people of the crew, but the person has like no idea what he's talking about. And that was the last time that I had an exchange with Agape. And now he's like completely off the scene. So I feel like I've totally been left out. And but the good thing is all it took was a little bit of money to get this person to turn out to be a rat or a roach or whatever. And from now on, we can just label them, you know, okay, you did wrong and we won't trust you again. You have been excommunicated. Or give me a better explanation. So, sorry I had to go into that. Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah, people are just milking the all-time highs. And that's what happens. It really does. Like, people continue to come to our community in order to see what value they can shave off. You know, Accepting Cookies has been doing that. Orca, he has been doing that, one project after the other. And he's not the only one. These people who parade with him. And so like every 3 months, it'll be a different thing. Every 6 months, he'll completely stop his Twitter and start a new one. But there are multiple people. Like, over there on Twitter Spaces, it's such a dumpster fire that we have to recognize people's voices in order to realize that they have just disguised themselves under a new handle. And now they're pitching something else. But a few of us have done really well in burying some of the folks. You know, like, they'll incriminate themselves. They'll be on a stream or maybe not a stream. Like, maybe they'll like have this polished video that they go and release that's pitching a certain coin, right? And they're like, oh, this is the best thing. And this is the best thing in working out in athletics. You're gonna earn a coin and you're gonna pay a coin whenever you don't work out, and it's gonna be great. But like, they're insanely incriminating themselves in front of the camera, and then we can go and chop it and have it to where like their words preach against themselves and they're just destroyed. It's really neat. But who really takes the time to sit there and analyze like, oh yeah, you know, that fucker, because there's so many people who are just in it for the paychecks. They just want it. And I see that I'm losing viewers, so I'm going off on a limb. And goodness, it's hot in here. Oh, there's a freaking fan right in front of me. I'm an idiot. Oh, that's hilarious. The fan was right in front of me. I didn't even turn it on until now. It's an hour and 10 minutes in. All right, I'm trying to make sure that I've got to everything that Free Speech wrote here. Look, when I go to the ATM, I call it the magic money machine. You'll be able to buy whatever the hell, you know, any common person can buy. Okay, so here's something that Richard says. And either SJ or K4K pointed this out recently, where you can have all the fucking money in the world that you want, right? But in order to get the object that you want, you need the craftsman to make it. There has to be somebody that you trust that can finagle, right, the thing into existence. And if you can't do that, then it doesn't fucking matter, or you have to do it yourself. So that's a funny situation that we'll face, is like, we've got all the money in the world, but yet nobody will work to create the thing that we want created. Oh shit. What do you do then? And that's why we all need to work on our passions now and really grind it out. A recent poll that I put inside of the Hex Guild group, that's a group that I created underneath a different name prior, but you can find it at t.me/hexfoodies or t.me/hexguild. But the poll that I put in there asked everybody if they had ever been influenced by somebody online and then had the audacity to give thousands of dollars toward the cause that this person was doing. So I guess Richard could be one of those things. But I was trying to get at, like, you know, an amount that would hurt if you lost, or it's like an amount that you'd be affected by, not that you would hurt. You should be okay with it leaving your wallet and never seeing it again. So one of my examples is Paul Wheaton up in Montana. He was creating this eco village called Ant Village, and that's on top of Wheaton Laboratories, where they do appropriate technology stuff and permaculture stuff. And so back in the day, through podcasts, while I was in corporate world drafting at a computer inside of an office, I would listen to podcasts all day. Paul Wheaton did a homesteading and permaculture podcast. I would listen to his voice, love his stories, got to appreciate him and the way that he entertained me and taught me and influenced me. So whenever it was that he was talking about wanting to do fundraising in order to expand the piece of property, or expand his, to have some property to create this eco village, he reached out to the community, and a few of us forked over some money and helped him purchase the properties because he put up the rest of the money. So my contribution, $10,000. Where did that come from? My 401k, because I quit the Houston job, the corporate world, and it was just right at that exact same time where I was making life changes. I was making huge changes, and it's worked out in my favor because I'm earning interest with him, and it's a gentleman's agreement, and he is a gentleman, and I can come and go from his property as much as I want. And whenever I stay there, I can eat with him, and I can stay in the house, which is like privileged level. Typically you would have to take up whatever bunk they give you, and you would have to work all day in order to get your bunk and your food, 4 days out of the 7 days of the week. So the second time that I was influenced by somebody on the internet, well, there was cuttingthroughthematrix.com, Alan Watt, the deprogrammer, but he didn't have any fundraising things to put money towards, and he kind of kept me away from Bitcoin, which back in the day, whenever he was mentioning and talking about it, it was right there where Richard saw it, where it was like I think it had just gone up to $30, and so it was about to crash when I was looking at it and saying, like, should I buy this or should I buy gold? If I bought this, I could get 10 coins, like rounded off to a number. And I was thinking, like, 10 coins times 30, $300. So it would be about a third of an ounce of gold right now. Should I do this sort of thing? Nah, I'll just buy the gold down the street over here at the Indian market and continue to do that instead of getting this Bitcoin that my deprogrammer is telling me that is a plot to get us all on an on and off switch of our bank accounts, right? The conspiracy theory thing. I'm all for conspiracy theories, by the way. All right, so then another guy that I was influenced over the internet would have never, found in my local area was Richard Hart, right? And then now, who am I basically becoming? I'm becoming a staple for Hex in all of Texas. So hopefully people will find me now and see that Hex is a calm terrain to be a part of. So it's interesting over here in Texas. Like we've got talented people around here. Like Togosh is a Texan. He created Hex Daily Stats, recently gave up control of it. He created Hex Streamers, which has been outdated, like surpassed by Pulse Streamers or PulseLive.com, something like that. He also did the early days of Hex Radio app, where it was a live feed from Telegram voice chat straight up onto YouTube. So people would be able to just tune into YouTube throughout the day and listen to it live or recordings. HOA tells me it's PulseTube is the website. Thank you very much. I don't know what Hexakin is. The Hexakin, I don't know what that is. Texas Hexicans. But let's see. So SJ is almost basically Texan. I know Crypto Kool-Aid moved to Austin. We have a lot of talent in Texas. Maybe this HOA is pointing out ATX crypto, maybe. And then I already mentioned Matty Allen's coming down and having a conference in less than a month. The 4th and 5th. Get your plane tickets. Whoa. Free speech is from South Australia. When I first posted on Permies.com that thread about Hex, in the introduction, I said that Richard was over in Western Australia. It was just this, for some reason, he made me feel like he was just like isolated out in Western Australia in some sort of small town where he just knew everybody. These were the early days, right? And somebody came on to the thread using just a temporary blah name that they were just going to dismiss or leave behind anyway. And they wrote, he is not from, or he is not in Western Australia. And that was just it. So I was thinking it was him. I was thinking Richard was surfing the internet for who was talking about Hex, and he came in and said no. I don't know anything about that HOA. DJ Alpha and Nom Nom come to Texas next week. Dallas event. Wow, that fan did a number. I don't feel like running away now. I have some returned mail, which is Trap Gravities, and that's not surprising because the dumbasses in the Postal Service over there in his area, for some reason, in the early days, they knew who he was and actually got him the mail or called him up and told him to come get it from the post office. But nowadays, they don't even care. It's just return to sender, insufficient address. This is stamped from my local area, the Rio Grande area of the Austin distribution center of the Postal Service. It's stamped April 1st. It's fucking July 7th. What's up, Finbear? Yeah, bonus live. I just thought I'd cover things that are happening in the community, and maybe I'd have some new perspectives and some settled down perspectives. And then also I'm fishing my brain for ideas to convey to the people on Permies.com, the thread about Hex. And hey, if anybody wants to jump in, didn't think about this. The logo down here needs to be updated. All last night I hosted a Twitter space. I hosted a Twitter space after Christian hosted a Twitter space and got pulled over by police and had to end the Twitter space while he was getting pulled over and while he was getting written a warning and his truck was being towed. So what happened was he has a suspended license. So technically he shouldn't have been out driving. But they were nice to him. They just gave him a warning instead of taking him in. I suppose taking him in, right? But they towed his truck. Hilarious. And then he took an Uber back to his house, I think. So he came into the chat room as it existed later and gave us an update. And he's a young guy and he's amazingly calm about the situation, but dang, like, of course he did it to himself. It's funny because he often talks about how the policemen, they'd rather take down like hard crime, and typically he doesn't see them anywhere around town. Maybe it was a state trooper that found him on the highway. Were you really whittling a spoon? Or are you just playing with us? Yeah, they impounded his car. So it's going to be it's going to be $260 to get it out, $280. that guy doesn't bat an eye at eating expensive steaks, but maybe like whenever money's like taken from you, like this instance where he has to get his car out, he probably wouldn't be very happy about that. At least he wasn't intoxicated. Free speech. Are you guys able to drink and drive over there? Or are all nations not allowed to drink and drive anymore? Because you used to be able to have alcohol in your car back in the 70s around here. And shoot, like way back in the day, like the 50s, we didn't have to have driver's license. Like they eased us into that stuff. And then now, of course, it's an official identity. So like when you walk into a place, somebody will ask you, like if you walk into an alcohol joint, they'll ask you, where's your driver's license? And it's like, how do you know to ask for the driver's license specifically? So Finbear's just whittling a spoon. Finbear, I need to get you a copy of Skip, Paul Wheaton's latest book, co-authored with a guy named Mike. And it's all about like little tasks that you can do to build your strengths up in the gamification of homesteading. Make a gate, make a stool, make a spoon, make a mallet with green wood and brown wood. Make a child. All right, guys. Thanks for joining me. Here soon in the guild group, we're gonna need to talk about what the next scholarship, the next HSI is gonna go to. We're gonna have the PHEX side and the EHEX side. I think we should put it towards an actual event instead of continuing to kick the can down the road and restaking it. And then I'm interested in hosting these competitions. So definitely the video competition is definitely on my mind. I need to iron out these door hangers so that I can add them to the mail outs. If it is, I don't already have an address for you and you're okay with that, give me a business address or your mom's address or a P.O. box or your address, whatever. My favorite news is Richard retweeted my tweet. Not just retweeted somebody else's tweet about me or liked my tweet. He actually fucking finally retweeted a tweet of mine. So that was cool. Which had to do, of course, with the mailings. And typically whenever he like puts attention towards somebody, he's actually wanting them to break. He's wanting enough attention to go to them to where they'll kind of like shatter apart. He's done that to a few people. So, and then the final idea is like, what can we have, like a chess tournament? If we sponsor a chess tournament, what other things are just like chess that maybe we'd want to sponsor those things instead. I don't know. But I'm going to go. I'm going to go to the printer down the street here, and I'm going to ask them if they got my emails about two different things I wanted them to print. One of them was the HSI certificates that I call the Eco Builder Mud Faucet, where it's a 5-year HSI that you're supposed to gift somebody that you want to sponsor. And so you fill it out with your email address and give it to them. And if they're talented enough, they'll climb up the IV and send you their MetaMask wallet address to the email that you put on that certificate. So that's one thing. Another thing is a sheet of stickers. I would love it if there were little tiny 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch hex stickers that were all on a sheet, right? That's just like a 4x6 sheet. I think that would be really cool. Or a 3x8 would be awesome too. Plenty of little things, sort of like, your kid gets into stickers and you find them all over the place after a while. I think that would be kind of fun. I think that would be entertaining, possibly great party gifts. I don't know what the expense is going to be, what the minimum is going to be. Last time I got 1,000, like just an order from these guys, right? These certain guys, 1,000 stickers for 32 cents each, I think. Something like that. It was a $300 purchase, somewhere around there. All right, and all of those are gone, by the way. Those were my square stickers. Another thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go pick up a hat. This hat I put $400 down on already, and I need to go pay the other $400 whenever I pick it up. But I've been waiting an entire year for this hat to be made, and now it's made. So the guy here in my town, he used to live in Durango, Colorado, and so that's, I don't know if that's really a touristy town. I guess it kind of is, right? So that's where he used to live, and he had a shop, and he would make these hats. And now he moved here. He said that, like, for his kids, the school district was about right, and then for his business, the tourism was about right. So he's been here for a while, like over 4 years. And I just never had the money. Like, I knew that his hats were expensive. So, like, last summer, I visited Benjamin Mutton over there in Navajo Nation, and I witnessed him using his hat, and I was just like, I want a hat like that. So we took some pictures, or I took some pictures of him while I was there, whatever he was doing, and then I showed those the hat pictures to Nathaniel. So Nathaniel's Hats here in Georgetown, Texas. And so he kind of understood the characteristics of the hat and made me one. And so it's sitting there ready for me to go and pick it up. I just haven't hit their right business hours yet because I am a Hexican. All right. That's the news I have. So hopefully I'll be wearing that hat during the next guild meeting. And if you guys have any interest, please visit those forums at permies.com/hex token, I believe is the page name. So that we can have more Hexicans to back up the movement. And yeah, Bitcoin's not dead. Like, recently, BlackRock guy was coming out publicly talking about Bitcoin being a wise investment. And, you know, we obviously think there's opposites, right? Whenever they tell us that this is a great investment, they're dumping it. And then vice versa. When they tell us it's a bad one, then they're buying it. So I don't know where we are right now in the cycles when it is that we're going to get the next influx, but I do know for a fact that this is a time where we can talk to people and tell them about inflation, and they understand that there isn't a ceiling to the inflation, that it can continue to be postponed and bumped up. People are recognizing that. People are recognizing that there's irresponsibility in governments creating the money system. And so it's like I was out for a drive on 4th of July. And my birthday was right before 4th of July, and I was kind of a recluse, like kind of just being a homebody during that. But whenever 4th of July came around after it, I was just like, I want to get out and about. So I drove down to a friend's place. He wasn't awake yet, him and his wife and his newborn kid. So I didn't want to disturb them. I just passed up their place and went on over to go sightseeing some stuff, go down some roads that I hadn't been down ever. But I had seen other perspectives, other roads, but not this one. So I was driving around, but on my way back, I stopped at a food stand, a farmer's stand that's always open. And they had a young man tending the table. And I've got my truck dressed in magnets that are hex magnets. And so the young man asked me, he's probably like between 14 and 16. I don't know it yet if he had his own car. And he asked me, like, what are all these stickers all over your car? Like right when I showed up, the first thing out of his mouth, before I even say, or maybe I greet them, but before I say what my interests are here on the table, he asked me what these stickers are on my truck. I tell him it's a cryptocurrency, and he kind of like dismisses it. He's like, "Oh yeah, okay, I heard of crypto. Yeah, I know it's doing this or that, whatever." I don't know, maybe his friend lost some in Shiba or Doge, or maybe some people he didn't like made money in Doge, or maybe he heard about Bitcoin and catastrophe. So I told him a little bit about the government stuff, and he was like, yeah, inflation, money printing. There's no cap on the money printing. The government's just out of control. I was just like, yeah, that's totally what's happening. This crypto right here allows you to earn interest, but you know, I whip out the little card, right? The card that I'll gladly mail you guys. So I whip out this is how my billfold is these days. Just a rubber band around folded money and aluminum cards on the outside. So it protects the paper cards on the inside. And so I whipped out one of the paper cards and I said, check this one out. I wrote a guide. This guide can teach you about crypto because it's important whether you invest in crypto or not. It's important for everyone to understand what crypto is. I don't know if I said it as like it's a revolution or it's an evolution. I just said it was important to know how it works. And I did tell him that it basically looks like a ledger that's being backed up by computers that are around the world. So we're able to have this money on the internet. No one point can shut it all off. And then I left. After I purchased stuff, I left. But then like halfway to my car, I turned back around and I came back and I told the guy, dude, on the backside, there's some videos that you can, hands-free watch that stuff and see if you're intrigued. So that was my technique. sometimes the young people, you want to influence them and they're just like not going to have it, you know. Their boyfriend or girlfriend is on their mind. I don't blame them. Good for you. I used to I used to work the summers here in this building, and every once in a while I'd have a girlfriend during the summer, and I'd go do deliveries out and about from my dad and grandfather's auto parts store here. I was the delivery bitch boy, because it's much better if I'm out in the field and they're here answering questions and answering the phone rather than them being out in the field. And so I'd always like peel off the route after I would deliver something, and I'd go visit somebody that I cared about, or maybe the girlfriend that I was into. So I know all about, you know, having my mind, because I experienced it myself, having my mind somewhere else while it is that we're working during the summer. But yeah, anytime I run into a cashier, I'm going to whip out that card and I'm going to be sitting there like ready to pay with my credit card or cash or something, but I'm ready to give that person a card. If I think that there's some talent inside them, I'll give it to them. Or if I see them over and over and over and over again, like maybe they're my coffee shop barista, then eventually they're going to ask me what it is that I do. And then I'm going to mention, you know, something that's similar to what this is happening right here as like, this is what I do. But what I want to hand them is that certificate. I want to hand them the certificate that's got all sorts of QRs on the back side of it. It's got my email address in the front, and it has steps A through D. Follow through with these things and you'll be sponsored with a 5-year HSI sent to your wallet. But what is a wallet? You need to find out what a wallet is. So they need to have their own intrigue. They gotta meet you halfway. So all you did was just give them a little piece of paper that had your email address on it. That's what you lost out on until they arrive in your email inbox. And then you say, oh, they actually followed through. That's awesome. And now I have an email contact to contact them, you know, whenever it is that it's time to follow up, maybe. Or make a friendship or something. Make a mentorship. Everybody needs mentors. You know, above you and below you. You know, all these hexagons that are kind of like edgy or breaking, you know, like right now, they're basically your mentee, right? Because we're able to talk to them and make sure that they're good and set in their life. And then observing them makes it to where you learn a lot as a mentor. But yeah, you're not missing out on anything. They arrive in your inbox, then you create a 5-year HSI, and then you send that to their MetaMask wallet. Then you're out of something. But I'm only asking you to participate with like maybe $5. So you have a few dollars, like $2 wrapping up the HSI, and you have $5 worth of hex staked for 5 years. And the reason why I keep saying 5 years is because that's what I printed on the certificate. You could do it to something else. And maybe the Fatty dashboard or some sort of dashboard would have a really good, like HSI Watch. That might be an all right dashboard. Academia-atiated. Hey, the PHEX price has gone up quite a bit. And Ink might have found a local bottom. I don't know. Well, thanks, free speech. Yeah, I've got all sorts of cards to mail people, guys. Anybody who's, I mean, I've also got ideas to send to newbies. So if you want to onboard somebody that you've never talked to about Hex, I've got shit that I can send them. And it'll be hands off, and it'll be like, it'll say it's coming from a neighbor. And why don't you check out this guy who's gaining a following? His name's Richard Hart on social media. He's an entrepreneur that you could follow. He's doing amazing stuff. He's changing the world. At this day, wouldn't it be awesome if you could, find new people who are changing the world? So here's the HSI certificate, the 5-year thing that I was talking about. So I keep them folded with my dollar bills, a little bit separate from my dollar bills, so that I don't have to separate them all the time. All right, so that's the email address right there in the front, and I kind of fucked that up. I meant to have it to where that says Hex Futures, because I do check the Hex Futures at Gmail every once in a while. Enough. And then check out the backside of this dollar bill. It's fucking awesome. Doesn't that look like it's kind of currency quality? Yeah, Beavis. And then I stole some of the graphics of this from a Confederate dollar bill, Civil War Confederacy. And I changed up the wording a little bit. The newer ones, it's just a little bit different wording on the A through E. It might only be an A through D now. Free speech. Are you on retirement? Is that, you say that you don't have dry powder? I still have some folks contacting me, asking me about working for them. In fact, I have one guy who's looking for contractors, and I've already done work for him. I'm just ready for the project to get started, and so I'll collect a fee after that. I'm not in any hurry to collect fees in architecture, because I make it to where I'm not the usual architect. Typically the architects, they get in the flow of money. They distribute the money. They decide, the money goes to them, and then they get the project done with all the subcontractors and contractors and superintendent and stuff like that. And instead, I make it to where the owner has firsthand interaction with the contractors, and maybe the owner is the superintendent, because often I'm working with restaurants, and that's how those people want it. They don't want too many cooks in the kitchen. They are the master. So what am I trying to explain? I continue to have a little bit of work rolling in. Free speech. I have that exact same idea. Except it wouldn't be Uber Eats. It would be Uber and Lyft. I would like to get a Lambo and not drive the Lambo. Instead, let either another Hexagon or a friend of mine drive that Lambo as a Lyft thing, and have it to where all it does is sponsor Hex. or sponsor the business that I have right here in this spot. But yeah, I which would then complement Hex. You know, people come in here and they're like, okay, well, where did you make your money? That sort of thing. Because I just have it like glorious, you know, decked out and stuff. I don't know if you guys have seen the ceiling, but I painted that shit gold. It's called Brass Monkey, actually. But yeah, let's get some Lambos and then let's like do stupid shit with them. It's where, like, you know, people wish they were driving them themselves. Yeah. Hey, free speech, tell me what this exact same jobs with trucks and forklifts. I strayed too far without seeing that. Long story, basically Ubering, waiting for all-time highs. Okay, that's what you're up to. Sweet. Free speech is a baller. Quit his job with the investment bank because jabs were mandatory. We support you, man. Back in 2010, whenever I was there as the draftsman in Houston, listening to podcasts all day, those fuckers tried to do biometric scanning on me, and I told them I'm not going to participate in that. And they were like, okay, well, you know, you do have the capabilities of not participating, but your insurance is going to go up because we're not able to like put you into the data and figure out how you're going to affect us. And I'm just looking around the office just like, I'm the healthiest and youngest fucker in here. Like, I run, I work out, I drink smoothies, I eat the least amount at lunch. Like, I dominate all you fools with health, but yet I'm going to have to pay a larger amount of a larger rate of insurance just because I won't allow them to get biometric scanning of me. Those fuckers. It was a worldwide organization, so whenever I say something, they didn't care. You're gonna miss me when I'm gone, which they did. I still have the Asians tell me that I was not replaceable. They have never had a better draftsman than me. I take every job too seriously. He's not going to share his car. So those companies that were saying like it's mandatory to get the jab, then about faced, right? They did a 180. We live in a weird time, you know? Like, that's like, we should take the advantage right now in exposing to the youngins that Social Security is not going to come to them. The management has all been screwed up. Because it's a really good time to present to them the idea of the chaos. Because there's so many other angles that are in chaos. There's impeachments of former and recent president. I don't know how to say that, but there's all sorts of questioning of who's even in charge. There's the reproduction capabilities are going down for human beings after the jab, and cancer is going up after the jab. So yeah, it's just a really good opportunity to say, hey, there's a lot of things that a lot of people have wrong. One of them is money creation by the state. Stop doing it. We have better systems. And I do think that with the Hexicans getting out there and being vocal and talking about these things and putting themselves on the spot, they're going to get better about talking about it. And they're going to figure out also what little tune, not this tune, not that tune, but this tune, this little thread of tune is going to work in my local area. 9 times out of 10. You might get in a rut. Okay, so let's see. I've got a tweet that's going to happen later on today. And like, so I don't know if everybody's able to do this. I paid for a Twitter account now. It's like $8 or $9 per month, I believe. Or maybe it's like $80 per year or $90 per year. I don't know. But I paid for it, right? Oh, Finber's making pizza. What do we want on the toppings, guys? HOA says cheese. Free speech says pineapple. I'm not feeling fatty salami today. I'm kind of feeling a lean bacon. But hey, beef would be fine. Just some ground beef. Are you going to make it so where it's like a circular pizza? Are you going to make it so where it's a rectangle or maybe a calzone? You're going to fold it over on itself? Are you going to stuff the crust? You got all sorts of opportunities with the crust. You could put a different meat in the crust. But if you have the pineapple, which you're not going to do, right? You got to put it next to tomato sauce, right? So Finbear, is it going to be, what's the sauce going to be? What's going to be the main thing? Are you going to, like, you could just have it to where it's butter and cheese. Okay, I think the hat store is open. The printers are definitely open. It's 11:25 a.m. I wanted to say something else before I looked at Finbear talking about pizzas. And free speech had just given me the 100. Oh, okay. So, HOA just put in there Budapest, question mark. So that's still going down. When is that meetup? Is that meetup in like 10 days? Didn't that meetup mid-July, or is it late July? Finbear's family doesn't like calzones. Okay, HOA says Budapest meetup is on the 14th of this month. Cool. What I wanted to say earlier is that I paid for Twitter, and so I can schedule out tweets, which is really exciting, right? So like I can be sitting there on Saturday night, nothing to do. So I just create some graphics and I say, hey, on Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon, this Sunday, post this thing. And then on the next Sunday, post this other thing. And the next Sunday. So I think later on today, I have it scheduled. I just lost a viewer. Oh, wow. Maybe it's Finbear messing with his toggle or something. So I'm gonna say like I'm trying to gain information from people. I put out this tweet has a graphic and it has all the United States, and the ones that are left in white, instead of being in hex gradient, the ones that are left in white are the ones that I don't yet have hexagon addresses for. So if you're on Twitter, please look for that later on. If you're not on Twitter, please think about this. I want hexagon addresses for every state in the United States, and there's like 8 that I don't yet have. I know a few of them by heart, right? For some reason, I think Michigan was one of them. Alaska was one. And I know that we have an Alaskan guy because he's actually been live on F and Hangout one time, but it's okay. Like, we don't need to pressure specific people into getting addresses. We just want to say in general. Already retweeted. Free Speech says thank you. I didn't know that it already came out. I was thinking maybe it would come out later. Maybe that's why my Twitter phone is saying Twitter updates. So, I guess if it's already gone out, then I can look at it and read from it. Yeah, I say on the hunt. Please help me mail hexagons in states. I want to supply hex packages for free. DM me hexagons. So I made this graphic. Yeah. So if you guys could help me out, all the white states are places I don't already have addresses to. So that's Alaska, Colorado, Kansas, Arkansas, Iowa, South Dakota, North Dakota, Michigan, Indiana, Kentucky, West Virginia, Delaware. That Wayne's World. Delaware. Great. Delaware. New Jersey, Rhode Island, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. I would deeply appreciate the help, guys. Thank you. And I made this graphic thinking that it would be like fun to interact with people, right? People might think of it as fun, like, let's go on the hunt. Sweet, 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 sweet. Already got some DMs. I am in US looking for sincere friend. Can you add me to Telegram? No, I cannot. The fuck? Somebody said it's cool that I'm streaming. Thought I would be interested in preventative health option. The eDNA whole genome sequencing. The fuck? Which one of you fuckers sent me this? So Matty Allen just tweeted out maybe 11 hours ago, tweeted out that his Time Pays Me app that he created, he's going to look into it. He's going to take away the front end for a little while and look at the reports because he wants to make sure that there's not a problem with it. So you guys don't fuck with Time Pays Me for a little while, okay? Because you guys in the guild, you'll like this. I was in Twitter Spaces talking to Highway about the Time Pays Me thing, and like, hey, would I be able to create all of those? What have we been calling them? Decentralized treasury placements, where we've got them coming out every 6 months for the Hex Guild projects that have yet to be decided, but yet, this stuff's staked out already because I spent $3,000 at one point to put out for every 6 months $100 worth of staked Hex. And then for 15 years, of course, right? Every 6 months. But then we got the copies, right? So that was awesome. Oh, Davey Lay, you're the one who sent me the DM. Thank you. Oh, David Lee is from Indiana, so I could get his address. Isn't David Lee the guy who interacts with the Texas group and Texan Token often? And also, there's another guy that's David Lee Durr, and he's down in Houston. The Durr guy is down in Houston, so I got a few guys to get in my head. Okay, HOA says yes, so he is the Texan guy. I was kind of hoping the Texan guy was a Texan. So we got Rags to Riches over there in Virginia. We got David Lee in Indiana. And then we have Heartbeat just north of me in Temple, Texas. And then I believe that there's another amounts of people who are already here in Texas who are with the Texas nationalist movement, but they're not crypto first, they're nationalist movement first. I have taught a little bit of crypto to my local Texas nationalist movement group, but just a little bit. I gave the steps, the organizer here locally, I gave her an email that broke down the steps that I talked about with her. And I went ahead and staked all of my Texan token on both Pulse Chain and Ethereum in order to experience that so that I could report back to them. So those are some efforts that I've been doing in for the holisticness of everything. Okay, so I have HexiQuinn's address. No. Yes, I think I have HexiQuinn's address. Maybe I'm wrong about Indiana. Maybe I have Indiana. Whenever you're looking through a list of 170 addresses, a lot of things don't catch your eye. Like what I've done is I've put a little highlight mark underneath the country if it's out of the United States, or the state if it's in the United States. And I've also, all the ones that are outside of the United States, I've put a vertical line, sort of like marking off that box so that I can somewhat quickly reference stuff. But if somebody sends me a direct message and says like, hey, I'm short on some stuff, then I'll just look at our past history of direct messages and find their address that way. But I'm not databasing addresses in a computer to where it's like an easy place to look up stuff. Instead, you either have to look into my DMs on Twitter or you have to find the pieces of paper at my house. All right, guys. So if you could help me spread this stuff around and all these ideas that I brought to you and marinate them in your own way, and especially you, Magic Mushroom Health. I've been microdosing lately, and I love it. I absolutely love it. It's like everybody who missed out on, I don't know, like marijuana isn't all that bad, right? And so like my mother's friends are getting cancer now and they're taking marijuana. And I'm just like, see, Mom, marijuana does have a purpose, or it can help people out, or it is a powerful substance. I would like to do that same amount of introduction, or even a smaller amount, with the mushrooms, because I do think that people can self-heal psychologically with mushrooms. And I don't really know exactly how all it works, but I love the way that with microdosing mushrooms, you kind of like find an old thought and you do a little bit of therapy on the situation. It's lovely. Okay, guys, stay safe. First of all, do no harm. Apply yourself to your passions. really grind it out in this time period right now. Recognize that it's the hard times that make a man, right? What you do in the hardest of times is how good of a person you are. And with that same mentality, we're going to be making relationships and friends right now that are going to be worthy ones. And let's go forward and kick some ass and not be shaky here. When we're backing the Richard Heart ecosystem, we're able to be a part of an entrepreneur's creation. We're able to be forefront and center. And prior to now, we would have to be like really involved and right next to them. But instead, the technology makes it to where we can keep our distance and do it legally and prosper. So just what I'm promoting is like, once it is that you have sudden wealth syndrome, I'm hoping that you built yourself up instead of just all of a sudden arrived at sudden wealth syndrome and you don't know what to do with your bags. And also keep in mind that a lot of these people, they talk about like how, like I think Westcott Crypto was talking about this last night. He's like, the first cycle that you ever witness in crypto, you're going to be absolutely learning the whole time and you're going to get screwed over. The second cycle, you're going to be learning and taking notes, and hopefully you'll make the right decisions. And then the third cycle, you'll coast through it. So I'm about to enter my third cycle. I was lucky that I followed Richard, and I was lucky that Alex created Hedron, and that gave me a lot of liquidity to play with as well. So the dividends of Hex came through for me, as well as Hex came through for me, because I'm still probably at 100x. Wait, 100 or 1,000x? Because we did go to the 10,000x. Marcavelli, did we go to 10,000x or 1,000x? And yeah, Marcavelli, we talked about it earlier. So RG3 was talking about 10%, blow it, have fun with it. 10%, put it away, store it, and then be a little philanthropic as well, is what RG3 was saying. What I was saying was, I clearly had this time period during NASCAR where I was taking a shower and I was having my shower moment in the morning and thinking, what if it goes down from here? Won't I be emotionally affected? You know, why don't I just take which I didn't. I should have taken it. I remember what the number was. It was like 2 houses. I should have just taken it. Whatever. So my advice to everybody is take 10%, put it off to the side in stables so that you can buy up next time a huge dip happens, next time the bottom of the market happens, so that you can use that 10% that was in stables to purchase, and you can possibly double your bag with just that one move. But also take 10% and go and blow it and have fun with it. So that's my advice. You know, take 20% out of the market at its height. And hopefully the rest of it's going to be staked out. and then you'll be earning interest, so that whenever you're right here, right now, you're going to be earning shit tons of interest in Hex tokens. Like, I'm earning thousands of Hex tokens a day. Thousands. Because I made some decisions at day, all the way up to like day 19 of Hex. I was buying and staking out my ladder stuff. Therefore, I made all of those stakes go through Big Payday, which gave you a 60% bonus on top of your principal. So yeah, Richard, he tells you that he doesn't give people bad deals, and he's not freaking kidding. Like while we're sitting here like struggling and stuff, and we're sort of like, oh, I want to make this move, I want to make that move, he's gonna make it to where like you make enough, but you're not spoiled. You know what I mean? And I think that's a way of making tokenomics work, right? Because you have to make sure that the ratio is right with the real world and stuff like that. But it also makes it to where you have to be real. You have to work on yourself. You have to be honest. Like he makes it to where like you could blow up in the wrong direction. And if you guys blow up, it's just like I was talking about Agape Hex giving him $7,500 worth. If you blow up, then it's better for us, because we found out that you were a bad community member, that you weren't capable of handling your own shit, that you were going to blow up at some point. So it's better, you know, that we see it now than later when there's higher stakes. I mean, sure, we'll probably laugh about it if it was higher stakes anyway. But like all of the ex-drug addicts, all of the people who are having divorces right now, right? Like all these people who have had issues in their life, and they're having them come to fruition and possibly hurting them right now. I feel sorry for you, and I hope you make it through this. We're here to help you out as long as you have ears to listen. Or maybe it is that you just want to spill to somebody, and that's how you work. But whatever the case, what I'm trying to get at is the tokenomics still relate to this world, and we still have to have the strongest survive. Because if it wasn't a strongest survive situation, it wouldn't be organic. And if it wasn't organic, it wouldn't be sustainable. Sweet. Sorry if I just blew into the mic. Marcavelli said it sounds like Saturn worship. That's hilarious. Thanks, free speech. I'll say that it's the microdosing mushrooms that really came through. All right. Free speech is a real OG Hexican. Sorry, I got distracted by the booty that was outside. So free speech says here that he had to emergency in-stake a few right before Big Payday so that he could put them past Big Payday. I totally understand. I had one that I mismanaged the time period. Remember whenever it was that go.hex.com didn't have a calendar for you to pick the day, and instead you had to just like sort of figure it out in your own way, like I'm going to stake out for this many days, and I hope that means that it's going to arrive on the 2nd of January or whatever. Well, I had it one day off on Big Payday. I was going to have it to where it ended like just one stake. I wasn't going to I wasn't trying to cheat the system or anything. I just wanted to have that liquidity come to me available right after big payday. But then I rescheduled that for like multiple years past big payday, but that was one that I emergency instaked. And I don't think I lost much, right? Because it was right before big payday. So it's just like, okay, I emergency instake just like 3 days before, like 3 days early. That wasn't that big of a deal. The biggest problem was that I had to be around my computer and I was actually traveling at the time. If I have all my events correct in my head. When I say day 19, then Hex on air thinks about whenever he bought it on day 19, didn't do anything with it. Very interesting. Didn't know what you bought. You just saw the. I know you told me this story, but I forget exactly. Did you just like see the ticker and was just like, oh, that's a cool logo? What? You already ate the pizzas? I guess it only takes like 10 minutes to put a pizza in the oven if it's a real hot oven. And I think you like thin crust, right? It was an hour ago that I said I was going to wrap this up. You know, all of this is really weird because we don't have like a hub anymore. Like Telegram Hex Crypto, is that our hub? Is PulseChain.com on Telegram? Is that our hub? Or is it the dumpster fire of Twitter that's our hub? Timber says, yeah, thin crust. As hot as she can take. 7 to 8 minutes. Wow, that's really fast pizza. Good deal. Free Speech thought that big payday was going to be a quick flip. Yeah, just like we thought that we would be above sack prices right now with Pulse, huh? Okay, so I can't say that without saying we sacked at the height of the market to where, like, if our value was brought over, like say on Pulse sacrifices, say I sacrificed my Hex when it was like 37 cents or something. Let's just round it up to 40. So I preserved that dollar amount by sacrificing then. I did without the tokens, and we're only down 2% or 3% from there. Rather than me having those liquid tokens now and having my copies, but being down 10 times the amount, or to 1/10 of the amount, maybe even like 1/12 of the amount. So 1/12 is 8%. So right now I'm at 98% instead of 8%. Well, if you explain it that way. Finbear, I was blown away by the chair that you made. And only whenever you started complaining that you didn't do it well did I take a second look and see that your seams weren't at a perfect 45-degree angle. Because what he was doing was he was paper twining the top of a stool. So like wrapping the frame of a stool with twine and doing a weave. He said he was doing that all night. All right. I stopped from saying that anybody in particular was a part of Rackham's, but now that Finbear said Rackham's multiplier. So Finbear, he was a part of Sack Pool that Rackham did, and they were able to get 2.5 times the sack bonus. So in Finbear's instance, that heavily duplicated his bags because Finbear's not the whale. But damn, you did really well, dude. You did really well with that. So what else do we have to talk about? It's a Friday. Hey, the people that are new, please check out the previous hours of this and check out the states that I'm trying to target, because I've analyzed what states I have addresses to and what states I don't have addresses to, and I would love to get into those states that I don't have addresses yet. I have recently been retweeted by Richard Hart, so I'm legit. All right. With that, let's get it out. See you guys later. Thanks for being here, and let's kick some ass going forward. Here's my Twitter handle if you guys want to catch up with me there. And what I used to say whenever I sign off was, hey, Hexicans, be good to each other or be good to everybody in crypto, because if they're not yet a Hexican, they soon will be.
Firehex.com.